Today I'm sitting with Stanley Henry from The Attention Seeker, and in business, attention is money. It's a form of currency. So since Stanley trades in attention, I really wanted to pick his brains today for my own benefit as much as yours. So Stanley, thank you for taking the time to sit with me today.
No, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure.
Cool. Well, one thing that certainly to my millennial brain is very clunky and a massive gap in my knowledge is TikTok. So please, let's talk about TikTok today.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I'm a millennial too. TikTok still hurts my brain. So I just hired Gen Zs to teach me how to do it. But yeah, TikTok is just an outrageous platform that still blows me away every day. And its ability to get attention is just, at the moment, currently second to none.
So what is TikTok?
So look, for me, I think of TikTok, or as its company, we think of TikTok as Netflix, as a type of Netflix. It's an entertainment channel. So we've gotten so used to calling these new platforms social media channels. And look, I guess there is an opportunity for people to interact with each other and have some social interaction. But at the end of the day, people are on TikTok to be entertained and to entertain others. And so we see it more like Netflix than it is Instagram or Facebook. And because of that, it dictates the style of content that is created on that platform as well. So it's a lot of short form video. It's all portrait. It's all 9:16 format. So, it's long and tall and skinny sort of format video. It's short, it's sharp. There's very few videos over 60 seconds. And the type of videos on there can literally be anything. Like they range from, people just sharing their day through to all sorts of stuff, through to like what we do, which is just unhinged office antics. Yeah,
definitely office antics. I've seen some of those, and I suppose that flows nicely into what I was going to have. My next question is, what's different about it? Because like you say, you hear that it's social as a social media, on social media, but actually it's entirely, and it's almost impersonal in that regard. So you're entertaining somebody, and the person who's consuming that content, you might not have any connection with at all. They might not even be your follower, but depending on how you're using various trends and stuff, it picks up that way as well, or your hashtag, or talk to my mother.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. And when YouTube first came about, no one thought of YouTube as a social media. Like no one used to think, oh, YouTube's a social media. They never compared it to Facebook. They never compared it to Instagram. But as time evolved, it slowly became that for some people, not everyone. Still, a lot of people just think YouTube's a place to go watch video. And so that's how we sort of see TikTok as well. Like a lot of people, when it came out, we're used to social media now, so they put it into the same camp. And mainly because viewers were leaving Facebook and Instagram to go to TikTok, and the younger generation and Gen Zs were like, Instagram's for old people. Here's TikTok over here. And so a lot of people thought, oh, well, this is the social media platform of today, but really it's an entertainment platform. And you're right, like it can be very impersonal. It can still create really good community. It can still have that social aspect to it, but no different to like how, Game of Thrones has a whole community behind it of people who love Game of Thrones and get behind the TV show, and they dress up in cosplay and they buy all the DVDs and they do all the things, and Star Wars and Star Trek and all the other franchises. They still have communities. So that aspect has always been in entertainment. Celebrities have always had communities of people. It just doesn't behave like Facebook did, which Facebook's thing was to connect people. That's what they tried to do and what they're trying to do. TikTok is there to entertain. And this is why a lot of people struggle with it, because they're trying to use it like it's Facebook and Instagram, which was about connection, about telling people about yourself and your services. And Facebook went heavily into the business side because that's how they made their money. TikTok is about entertainment. How can I entertain people? And some of it can be humor, some of it can be sad, some can be edutainment, it can be all sorts of things, but it has to entertain. That's the number one rule.
And I suppose you compared it to Netflix, and it's sort of, it's breaking down that entertainment creation to a really accessible way to the ordinary person, and that's what's social about it, is that it's accessible to the likes of you and me. We can just create an account, build some content, punch it out there, and it may go viral just as likely as a large organization that's putting all those resources into their typical quality content. has really broken down that barrier of access to making that content, reaching people.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's exactly it. Like it's gotten rid of all the gatekeepers, just like YouTube did. The difference, like YouTube really laid the foundation for what TikTok could become. A lot of people don't realize, like, especially in New Zealand and even Australia to a certain extent, don't really quite realize the power of YouTube. You know, like there was a document that was put out like last year, I think it was, and they said that YouTube's creator economy just in the US was like, it's bigger than New Zealand's entire GDP as a country. So like, that's how big the economy is in this creator world, that like people just don't quite realize what it's done. And so YouTube democratized the ability to create media. And now TikTok's just taken it to another level on a different format. YouTube's obviously like rushing to catch up and take over. But it's, and it probably will, like, to be honest, I think we kind of think YouTube will eventually take over TikTok, the YouTube Shorts stuff. But yeah, and the only reason we say that is because there's more money involved in YouTube, and YouTube's got a better ads platform. But yeah, this whole like democratization is just crazy.
Yeah. So what opportunity is there for business?
So, you know, honestly, when we first started using TikTok, we didn't think that there was a lot of business opportunity. We did it for recruitment. But as we've done it more and more, we've realized that because of the reach you can get as a creator, you only need a tiny percentage of those people to be your target audience. Whereas like on LinkedIn, when you're putting content out there, which we obviously still wholeheartedly believe in, but you need most of your audience to be that because of the size of the audiences that you're getting. Whereas on TikTok, you're getting, like, we got 12 million views last month on TikTok. I don't need 1% of 12 million, you know, that's 120,000 people. Like, I could never handle talking to 120,000 people. That's silly, right? So you only need like 0.0001% of those people to be the right people, that you can get a real return on it. And then if you're a brand, like if you sell consumer goods, I should say, that's even better because the purchase cost is so much smaller. You know, you might be selling $200 or $50 things. Like we did I don't know if you saw our video, but we did a t-shirt one, right? And so it was a joke, and we just wanted to test how many people actually click through the link if we tell them to, and then how many people will do everything. And so that ended up one video, a $90 t-shirt that was an absolute joke. No one should have ever bought it. 30-something thousand people clicked the link, 4,000 people added it to the cart, and then eventually 55 people bought it. God knows why. So we did almost $5,000 in t-shirt sales from one video. And that was like the only video we did a second one on it too, which sold some mugs and stuff and that was silly things. It was all print on demand too, so it was no setup cost for us. Like it was a whole print on demand service. We didn't make much profit. Like we didn't, most of it went into the production of it because we weren't really trying to do it to make money. But if you actually had a product and you actually had a good story and the product was actually good and people believed you and wanted to buy it, those 40,000, 30,000 people who went to your website, you might have got 5,000 of them buy it, you know, and if that was $100 a pop, you know, now we're talking about the money that you can sort of generate from this sort of platform is just crazy. And you see it all the time. There's example after example of these consumer brands, direct to consumer brands who have done this on TikTok. I know a really good example. I can't remember. It was like a drinking game, a board game drinking game that a guy created, and he launched it, sold 2,000 purchases of this particular board game that he made in the first video once he launched pre-sales. And then straight away, one of the largest game manufacturers in the world went out and bought it off him. And so he sold it. He was like, yeah, done, take it. And so like, you know, like this guy, he had only posted maybe 30 videos about this board game he's creating. And then he's just got this, he didn't say what it was, but it would have been 6 or 7 figure payout for like, what did he do really, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
God,
now he's just moved on to the next thing.
Yeah. And it's just, you know, you've already touched on it, but the reach, like you've got a really cool idea or a crazy video and you're reaching the decision maker in their pocket in real time. Whereas the old school days of like trying to make a meeting to talk to that executive and going through all the gatekeepers and whatnot it's just flipped that entire model on its head.
Yeah, absolutely. The people who come through Or both TikTok and LinkedIn for us, because we've been doing so much brand building on both. But nowadays, when people reach out to us, well, first of all, people reach out to us, not the other way around. So that's already flipped the script. When I first started, it was like, it's a small business. I'm cold reaching out to people to try and make meetings. Now it's the opposite way. Now my calendar is always full because of other people reaching out to me. And then the guys on TikTok, like, that are reaching out, they're trying to figure out how they how they work with us. They're trying to sell themselves to us to work with us, and that's the crazy thing. Like that brand's done. They almost, people around the world properly think we're famous. Like we'll like jump on, like it's real funny. It's just, for a Kiwi to hear stuff like that. Like I jump on a call with a girl from Argentina yesterday and she's like, I'm so nervous. Like, and I'm like, why? She's like, oh, because like you're proper famous. Like this is so like, and I'm like, you haven't met me. This is not who we are. But because we're so big and got all these viewership, like there's a thing that comes along with that, which means, and from a sales perspective, the trust is built. They understand who we are. They want to work with us. They're just trying to figure out how they can make that work. As opposed to me jumping on a sales call, as all business owners know, you're trying to build their trust. You're trying to get them to believe you and trust in what you do. And that's the majority of the sales process at the start. But we've done all that. That's all done for us already. So now it's just like, okay, let's broker this deal and get it done. Yeah,
they're sitting there with their purse strings ready to give it to you. You've already done that. Wow. And you're doing it on scale as well, because you're not just, as I said, the old school method of like banging on the door and chatting to that person, then replicating that conversation with the next person. You're talking to people en masse, and then they're highly, highly qualified by the time you're talking to them.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Like, I used to think it was amazing what we were doing on LinkedIn when we would get 1 million views in a year on posts. And I was like, this is outrageous to think that 1 million people have seen the work we put out. It might not be 1 million different people, but it's 1 million impressions anyway. And then like the moment we hit it, we hit our first couple of viral videos on TikTok and did 10 million views in a month. And it's like, this is 10x what we used to do in a year in a month. And now like we could put up a video and overnight it'll do 4 million views. And it's like in one night, 4 million people have seen our brand. And that ability to talk to people at that level. Like I had my mum in a couple of our videos and one of them did 5.9 million views. And I said to her, I was like, Mum, like, Mum's 66 this year. And I said to her, like, would it have ever crossed your mind that at one point in your life, more people than the population of the country you grew up in have seen you? And she's like, no way, Steph. Like, I'm from Papakura. Like, I'm like when she's not anything, and then she gets put on this video, it blows up. Almost 6 million people have now seen her. And like it just for that generation too, it's just like mind blowing. Like, how did that happen? And now Mum's got like quite a few hundred followers because we tagged her in it, and they've all gone to follow her. And I set up her profile, and I was like, the mother of attention seeker. Like, it's so funny. I've been trying to convince her to make her own channel, but she doesn't care for it. But that's just mind blowing. Like it's just another world that for regular folk they just don't think could be possible, but it really is. It really, like, TikTok is allowing that. And the crazy thing is, just like it happened every other time with Facebook, with Instagram, with YouTube, it will stop at some point. The ability to grow that fast, TikTok will be limited as more creators jump on, as more people producing video. So like, there is no better time. Like, it's still really early on TikTok. It's still very, very early to be on there.
I was talking to a previous person, Mike McKelling from Kiwi Website Design, and he's keeping across it all as well. And he said to me that more under 35s are using Instagram and TikTok than Google for their searching.
Outrageous. Like, and it makes sense because, hey, I want to go see where I want to eat tonight in Ponsonby. So I jump on TikTok and I say places to eat in Ponsonby, and it shows me videos of people reviewing the restaurants. Like, and I can see straight away, oh, that looks delicious, I'm going to go there. Whereas I do that on Google, it's going to give me a list of restaurants, and I have to decide by some rating system that I don't really understand. But if I can look and see that food looks absolutely fantastic, and that creator, I trust them, and they've told me it's good too. Like, which are you gonna trust? Like, we all kind of, like, I worked in hospital. Like, I know how those rating systems can be manipulated. Like, when I see a TikTok like that, yeah, look, of course, some people give you paid to make good reviews. but it's pretty hard to fake a good looking meal. And when you see it being eaten, so yeah, no, 100%. We definitely know that how do we, when we're doing it for some clients and brands, it's like, what are the keywords? What are the search terms that people are looking for to make sure we rank for that when people are trying to find videos on a topic? Like that's really important to know as well. It's especially useful when you're making content that's edutainment, where you're trying to educate people, because if these young kids, or anyone in fact, are going to TikTok to find something, you need to be able to be searched. You need to be searchable, just like Google was, right? Just all the old ways that we used to do it. And when I say old ways, it's not that old really, is it? But like the way we used to do it for Google, you've got to do SEO for TikTok as well. Like, and it's the same with YouTube. YouTube SEO is just as important. Like, people just haven't had that much exposure to it. But yeah, definitely, people are on TikTok by the droves. And I think Google, they responded well. Where, I don't know if you've noticed now, but if you are searching certain things on Google, it will bring up TikToks for you to watch, or YouTube Shorts. Like, they've realized we can't beat them, so let's start indexing TikToks in our search so that people can find the TikToks there as well. Yeah.
So why are people not using TikTok?
It's just another thing. It's like, if you think about how many social medias have actually like been invented and gone, they've started and disappeared, or have dwindling user bases. There's heaps of them out there, and not many of them have been able to take on Facebook and Instagram. Instagram's pretty predatory, or Facebook is, like, in terms of they smash other platforms. The moment they try and get in, they try taking down. They try to do it again with Instagram Reels. It didn't quite work this time. TikTok managed to hold them off. YouTube's trying to do it now. So TikTok's still been this era of like, is it going to last? Is the new kid on the block? Is it really going to be there? So there's definitely an element of like, should I waste my time? Is it just a new fad that's happening? It isn't Facebook. No one, even us, we do not think it is Facebook yet. Like, it's not. Like, Facebook is currently still very popular, still 3 billion users. It's still a huge machine, still used a lot. And TikTok hasn't yet taken it. So it's still an element of like, is it going to be there? Is it worth my time? There's a part of it it's Chinese, and the West has this thing that they look at Chinese stuff and they're worried about it and concerned. And, to be honest, I'm probably just as concerned about the American government spying on us as I would the Chinese government. So it's not that, but that is a true fear, that Chinese government, it's not democratic the same way the American government is. So there's always an element of like, is there something nefarious going on here? And people are worried about their data security and things. So that's definitely a concern. And the third thing, it's video only, pretty much. Like, you can put photos up, but it's designed to be video. And that is a lot harder. It's a lot harder to make video than it is pictures or written text and things. You've got to put yourself out there a lot more. There's a lot more involved. You've got to be able to edit, and there's a whole thing in there to make it. So the barrier to put out content's a lot higher. And well, its perceived barrier is a lot higher, I should probably say, because as you know, if you look on TikTok and you watch the Gen Zs do it, there's no editing, there's no filters. They just, there might be filters, but they're just going and making it like as raw as possible. And that content does do better. So, but people don't know that. They think there's a barrier to the production cost of making content when they're doing it personally. So there's a few factors.
That's right? Kind of a form of procrastination, really, isn't it?
For sure, 100%.
Yeah, blaming that.
Just the same as putting out content on LinkedIn or anything. Like, it's all just self-conscious. Yeah, always. That's always the reason. But that's always the ultimate reason. But these are the excuses, maybe. Those three things I said are probably the excuses.
Yeah, it's scary. And to be fair, as a you might know, because I've mentioned it, I've attempted TikTok as well, and it's just, as you alluded to so many times before, it's so different from any other way that we're using these platforms, that it's a whole bunch. Like, you go on there to see what others are doing, and it's really difficult to see what works actually as well, although that always gets the views, but you've got to want to do that, and you've got to try and figure out that balance between what people want to see and what's authentic to you as well, and that's just a whole other thing. So that leads probably quite smoothly into one of my final questions, which is what things are you seeing people doing that they could probably be doing better? What mistakes are people making on the platform?
Yeah, good question. Probably in context to this conversation with the type of people who probably watch your content is that as a business, like one, if you're not willing to entertain and do some crap that we're doing on there and doing some unhinged sort of videos like we are, which is not for everyone, and I get it, we get it. But if you're doing talking head stuff where you're trying to talk to the audience and do things, there's a couple of things that people do wrong. The first one is the millennial pause. I don't know if you've ever read that article, but that's
you made a content about that, and then I did the thing that you said to do, and I was like, oh, that makes so obvious.
Yeah,
that'll change, but big result.
That tiny little change, it's huge. Like you almost want to be like, you'll see some of my videos where you won't even get the first whole of, you won't even get me saying the whole first word. Like, you know, it's just like straight into it, keep it going. It's like people flick in and just want to be entertained. So that's the first thing. It's just like start with a bang, like start strong. The second thing is like the way we talk to people. Now, there's this guy I met once who told me the story, and I'll tell it to you now. So, well, it's not really a story, it's a question. So if I ask you right now, Gemma, like actually answer me, how many bottles of milk are in your fridge?
2.
Okay. How many white things are in your fridge?
I don't know.
No idea,
no.
Right? No idea. And the idea behind that concept is that we've been using a lot lately, we're talking about a lot lately in the team, is that when you ask someone something specific enough that they can instantly go 2, or they can instantly say 1, that's the same as creating a video at the beginning that all they have to go is, because what you're saying to them when they flick to your video is like, do I want to watch this or not? That's the question you're asking. And they have to be able to say yes or no straight away. If they hesitate and they're not sure, the answer will be no.
Yeah.
And they'll move on. And so you need them to be able to go, yes, I want to watch this. And so that once you understand that concept, so then that's good, because the difference, another way we like to look at it is YouTube normal, like YouTube long form and things. You're trying to just get them to click and watch a video. YouTube Shorts or TikTok, you're trying to get them to stay on a video. And so then that's the difference between the types of production. So how do I get them to stay and make the decision to say, yes, I want to watch this? That's the first thing. And one of the ways to do that is to get hyper specific on the topic we're talking about, but in a way that is just a fundamental human condition. So what I mean by that is like everything we talk about in life, let's just say leadership. Let's say you're a leadership coach and you're trying to talk about leadership. Leadership is there are fundamental human conditions about leadership that everyone has to have, right? Like you have to be a leader as a mother or a father. That is part of being a mother, father. You got to lead the family unit and doing what you do. So you could create a leadership piece of content that hits onto that straight away. It's a fundamental human condition that many billions of people know and or experience every day. So when they see that someone talking about the difficulties of being a father or a mother or whatever it might be, and then that's a decision they can say, yes, that's me, I'm a father or I'm a child, because everyone's a child of someone, this relates to me. And then you can bring it into the leadership story that you are having, and you can tie that narrative together. If you can tap into that ability, I mean, that's a pretty crude example, but if you can tap into a fundamental human condition, every single person either knows, experiences, or knows someone who's experiencing their ability, and it's hyper specific example, their ability to say yes to watch that content goes through the roof. And so where most people go wrong is they're making content talking about all the white things in their fridge, and everyone's hesitating to, is this for me? I'm not sure. Like, let's say like you talk about like your business is about lending, and not everyone knows if they need lending. But what are some of the challenges with why people need some lending? Okay, how does that manifest in real life? Like, what are some of the cash flow issues that they're having, or what are some of the things? But then you get to it, and then you keep drilling further and further until it becomes super broad, like that. Even if you're not a business owner, even if you don't need lending, you get it. You understand what this is going through, and then you tie it into the lending. So you get lots of people watch it. The people who really want it watch it to the end. And then those people can convert it to what you need them to do. So look, it's not easy, but it is definitely what people are doing wrong. They're talking about white things, and no one cares about white things. They only want to know if you've got the bottle of milk that they need.
I get that. Yeah, that's really cool. Thank you.
Yeah, no, you're welcome. That's honestly, it's so hard, even that we know that, like trying to work that with our clients. Like sometimes we've got clients that are just They just get it. They just talk like that naturally. That's just how they talk. They're great storytellers. Bam. Profile goes through the roof. They make us look good because they're so good at speaking. And then we have other clients who are so intelligent. They speak at such a high level that no one can understand it, or no regular people, only their target audience can, but their target audience isn't getting it because the majority of people don't understand it. So it's not getting the views it needs to find the people who are their target. So you got to speak broadly. You've got to have everyone be able to get in with your content and understand it, which is why, like, I don't know if you've seen the Phone Plus. I put it up a few times, talked about it on LinkedIn. Phone Plus is one of our clients. They're a call center. We did things about working like HR having to deal with millennial HR having to deal with Gen Z employees. And so currently that's the world that we live in offices. Most of the middle management are millennials. Most of the young staff are Gen Z. So majority of the people get that dynamic of like these Gen Zs asking for a day off because it's their kid's birthday. And then millennials going, what the f are you on about, right? It's just a fundamental human condition of boss and subordinate people, you know, younger and older people, the dynamics between generations. And then they're getting like a couple million views of video because of it.
Wow. So what are your tips for people who want to dip their toe in the water and then, you know, they're keen but they're self-conscious? How do people get started?
Yeah, tough question. So my advice for TikTok is a little bit different to LinkedIn. LinkedIn is literally just post, doesn't matter. Just figure it out and go for it. On TikTok, I understand that that's harder because you're talking to video and it's a lot bigger hurdle to overcome. So actually the first thing I tell people is consume TikTok. Set a timer, put 60 minutes on the timer because you'll be there for 8 hours otherwise, and start consuming stuff and be really deliberate about your consumption. So like search for things that you want to talk about, search for things that what type of content you want to put out, find people doing the things you want to do, consume, and take really good notes. Like, why did I click on that? Why was that interesting? Why did I like or react or comment or, you know, and get into that mindset of like, what is this platform doing to me? Why do I enjoy it? And how could I adapt to that? And then don't be afraid to copy, because that's what TikTok's about. TikTok is about copying the whole, like there's a term called trends that didn't exist before in social media. Trends on TikTok built the platform, people copying each other and doing some things. Our presentation TikToks that we created with Joni presenting to me some crazy thing, that's a whole trend now. Like there are businesses all around the world doing the exact same thing and they've taken off because of it. That it is how the platform works. Copy other people. Like don't think, oh, that's already been done. No, it's better if you do it. It's better if you copy. It actually makes their content better. So copy everything. Like consume, find what you want to look like and emulate, copy it, turn it into like just bring your style to that style and make it your own. But to begin with, you need to consume. So my point of TikTok is different to say LinkedIn and other socials. Is consume first, understand the platform because you probably don't get it.
Yeah, cool. That's so exciting. Thank you, because it seems like this mythical unicorn to people like me who I get it. I know I should be there. I kind of don't really understand how or why. I know that people keep saying just do it, and it's so thank you. You make it really digestible and a little less scary.
No, you're welcome. And look, I for you, where you're at in your TikTok journey, is just keep doing it. Like you've started now, so there's like the scary part's over. Well, it's somewhat started maybe, but just continue to do it, but be deliberate and intentional with what you're doing on it. Like, make sure you're looking at the data. Where are people dropping off your videos? Like, have you looked at retention graphs on your videos?
I didn't know that was a thing. So that's kind of
cool. So on your video, go into it, down the bottom right-hand corner, it should say more data. If it doesn't, you haven't turned analytics on. So that's in the settings.
Okay.
You can Google how to do this. Google will tell you how to do it, or TikTok will tell you how to do it. And hit on more data. It gives you a graph and it shows you where everyone's clicking off your video. So where they're swiping. Right. And if your video has a real steep curve, then find out where that steep curve starts.
Inhale, which feels like it takes 1 second, but on video it looks about 5 years. The advice to start talking and then hit record was a game changer. And just to build on what you've been saying, I have fewer than 100 followers, and my videos get, if it gets over 1,000, doing a wee dance. But every single week I get a phone call from someone who found me on TikTok, and even at that very tiny micro scale, it's connected with someone on a level that they take action. So I can only imagine what's possible with holding people like you, taking people under their wings.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Like as an example, the same thing, we've got a client who we're struggling to get to make it click. Like the videos are funny, but we can't get them to click on the platform. So we're still working through it. They're about a month or two in now. We've got some ideas of where to change that, but already we've found one of their perfect people. They've reached out, we're setting up a meeting between them. So even though they're not getting the millions of views, they're only getting the thousands of views or hundreds of views sometimes. They're still like the community aspect strong on there. So people are reaching out. So yeah, you're right. You don't need to be 340,000 followers like we do. You just need to be in there every day being consistent.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, I'll leave it at that, and
Cool.
put some contact information for Stanley and the Attention Seeker, because if you are wanting to get involved and you need someone to hold your hand, I think they seem like the guys that would be a good fit for that. So
yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much for taking the time to chat to me about that. You guys are walking the talk, so it's really exciting.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Yeah.